The preliminary Gold Cup roster for the US men's national team was released on June 18th, and guys, there is a lot to talk about. Welcome guys, my name is Brian McDonough and this is Club and Country, where we talk about all things surrounding the beautiful game here in the United States. Today we'll be discussing my US men's national team starting 11 at this summer's Gold Cup. Before we dive in, smash that like button and subscribe for all future episodes of Club and Country. I'll be posting an episode every Tuesday and doing a live stream, my soccer specific podcast, every Thursday. So if you love exploring the landscape of soccer here in the United States and abroad, this channel is for you. This year's edition of the Gold Cup will commence on July 2nd. This means that US head coach Greg Berhalter and crew will have until the 2nd to finalize their 23-man roster for the tournament. Before we dive right into the starting 11, I think it is important to take a step back and understand the significance of this summer's Gold Cup. For example, Mexico is sending their C team. And yes, although we want to win this Gold Cup, I think it's more imperative that certain players are given a chance to play and prove themselves. That is why guys like Giazzi Zardes, Sebastian Lletget, and Kellyn Acosta have been left off of my final 23-man roster due to their prior exposure with Berhalter. Berhalter already knows what these players are capable of. I firmly believe Berhalter will use this tournament to showcase certain players in their first and second position. The ultimate objective is to win the Gold Cup. But for Berhalter, it is very important to get a true gauge on the depth of this team moving into the World Cup qualifiers. So let's get started. Starting at goalkeeper from the New England Revolution, Matt Turner. So far this year for the New England Revolution, Matt Turner has been an absolute brick wall. It is no secret that Turner is one of the best goalkeepers in Major League Soccer. In the 2021 season so far, Matt Turner has led the Revs to a 5-1-2 record, with a goals against average of .88. The goalkeeper also has had 3 shutouts in league play to date. Making his first cap for the US in the January camp against Trinidad and Tobago, Turner made a penalty save and showed Berhalter that he's a serious player for World Cup qualifying. In the Gold Cup, Turner will without a doubt be the #1 starter for the US men's national team. He is the best American goalkeeper by far in Major League Soccer, and I'm really excited to see how he performs in this summer's Gold Cup. Starting at left back from Atlanta United, George Bello. I know that George Bello starting at left back is controversial, but hear me out. Bello is only 19 years old, and the Atlanta United defender has been a fixture in the ATL since 16 years of age. It goes without being said that Bello is very, very talented. George has spent his entire youth career playing for the US national circuit, and is very well respected amongst US Soccer Federation. A lockdown defender with above average speed and elite agility, his athleticism and youth experience playing for the USMNT has earned him a starting role in my 11. We can also expect Jonathan Gomez to be Bello's replacement. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Gomez replace Bello from time to time to earn experience and a first cap during the group stage of this summer's Gold Cup. At left center back from AFC Bournemouth, Cameron Carter-Vickers. CCV is a player that has intrigued me for the past 5 seasons. This physical center back has been part of Tottenham's lone army since he graduated from the Spurs youth ranks in 2016. Vickers has yet to make an official first-team appearance for Tottenham, but has played his soccer for the likes of Sheffield United, Ipswich Town, Swansea City, Stoke City, Luton Town, and most recently, AFC Bournemouth. The English Championship veteran surely has the experience to be plugged right into Berhalter's starting left center-back role at this summer's Gold Cup. Aside from his physical nature, Vickers is known to be an excellent passer. CCV is likely to make a move from the Spurs, probably for the best, and this summer's Gold Cup is not only huge for his future USMNT career, but also an opportunity to show English suitors what he is capable of. Starting at right center-back from Nashville SC, Walker Zimmerman. Walker Zimmerman is a tremendous defender. The national man was the MLS Defender of the Year in 2020 and has been an MLS Best 11 over the past 2 seasons. Domestic play aside, Zimmerman can be looked over when it comes to center back roles for the US, but that needs to end. Zimmerman is no stranger to scoring goals, and is described as being the Marshall of Nashville's back line. I believe Zimmerman has something to prove with players like Mark McKenzie, Matt Miazga, and Aaron Long in contention for his position. But if Walker has a big Gold Cup, I think Berhalter will consider him as a rotational player for the World Cup qualifiers. At right back from Boavista, Reggie Cannon. Reggie Cannon is only 23 years old but plays like the guy's 33. Cannon is a US men's national team veteran, having 18 caps for the red, white, and blue. He plays his professional football for Boavista in Portugal, and is rumored to make a move elsewhere in Europe in the very near future. An FC Dallas Academy product, and fixtured in the US's Nation League title campaign, Cannon will benefit from more playing time. Anthony Robinson and Serginho Dest might be ahead of Cannon in the depth chart, but his veteran presence will be much needed in this younger starting 11. I would expect Julian Araujo to give Cannon a run for his money in training. Araujo is younger than Cannon at only 19 years old, but as many Galaxy fans have come to know, he likely could be a fixture for the US men's national team for years to come. At center defensive midfielder from the Philadelphia Union, Leon Flock. Leon Flock has been a major surprise for the Philadelphia Union. When Flach was recruited to Philadelphia from FC St. Paul in Hamburg, Germany, he was expected to step in as a role player for the Union. Jim Curtin, the Union's head coach, was recently interviewed about Flach and stated, and I quote, "Defensively, he has been as close to perfect as you could possibly be," Curtin said. Gosh, he could go to an incredible level, end quote. With recent young US stars like Mark McKenzie and Brennan Aronson coming through the Union's ranks, I'm confident that Curtin has an excellent eye for talent. Flock is more comfortable as a midfielder, but does have the ability to slot in as a left back. It will be interesting to see how Berhalter uses Flock in his 11. But for purposes of my preferred lineup, he will start as a central defensive midfielder. At center midfield from the San Jose Earthquakes, Jackson Yueill. Jackson Yueill had a really rough game against Honduras in the Nations League final, and we all know it. The central midfielder for San Jose has the ability to be a playmaker both offensively and defensively. Jackson has a lot to prove, and that's why I believe Berhalter will start him at central midfielder in this year's Gold Cup. It will really only take one bad appearance for Yueill to be replaced by the talented Christian Roldan. Roldan has recently been an afterthought for the US men's national team, and his inclusion in this summer's lineup could lead to a resurgence for Christian if he is able to impress over the likes of the struggling Yueill. At center attacking midfield from CF Montreal, Georgi Maholovic. Georgi Maholovic is a leader. There's no question that the 22-year-old midfielder has had a great deal of experience suiting up for the red, white, and blue compared to the rest of the starting 11. Maholovic has worked his way up through the youth ranks similar to Bello, and has even been included on the 2019 Gold Cup roster, having made 2 appearances in that tournament. Georgi could be considered a veteran amongst the likes of Bello, Flach, Turner, and other more inexperienced players for the US. What can we really expect out of Maholovic? We can expect a player that has an extremely high work rate. Georgi will be leaned upon to control the tempo of attack for the red, white, and blue. I know that Berhalter is a big fan of Mihailovic, and I fully expect him to start at center attacking midfield. Starting at left wing from the Colorado Rapids, Jonathan Lewis. Jonathan Lewis is a really intriguing player. Having played his youth soccer in Leeds, England, Lewis spent some time at Brentford City before landing back stateside for NYCFC. Now suiting up for the Rapids, Lewis has been a team leader for Colorado. Fantastic dribbler on the wing, Lewis is a playmaker. I fully expect Jonathan Lewis to be awarded the starting left wing position for the US men's national team. Don't be surprised if Lewis splits time early on with Gianluca Busio. The 19-year-old Busio is supposedly getting looks from the Italian national team, and it is the US men's best interest to award him a cap and some playing time. At right wing from DC United, Paul Areola. Similar to Reggie Cannon, Paul Areola is much needed in this lineup for his veteran presence. With 35 caps for the USMNT, Paul is easily the most capped player out of the group and likely the most consistent in terms of play for the US. Areola has been very, very good for the United States when called upon in international tournaments. The dynamic winger was loaned earlier this year to Swansea and is one of the more well-known MLS names on this list. I expect Areola to work well alongside Maholovic in generating a lot of chances for this starting 11. Chris Mueller will be called upon during the tournament to give Areola a rest. In fact, I believe that he might get used as a super sub for Areola in the later minutes of competition. Müller is arguably, and if you've seen him play, you can't deny this, the most technically gifted player in this 23-man roster. Last, but certainly not least, the striker position. In my starting 11 for the Gold Cup, I am going with the man from Orlando City, Dike. In a highly contentious position for the U.S. men's national team, Berhalter and fans alike will be very excited to see Dike. Dike was on absolute fire this year with his loan to Barnsley in the English Championship. The Orlando City player is playing for not only a potential starting role for the U.S. men's national team, but he's also playing for a potential transfer to Europe. Dike will be the starter in this tournament, but we can expect to see Jesus Ferreira and Matthew Hoppe off the bench for the Stars and Stripes. These three strikers are extremely intriguing to me, and out of the entire lineup, I am fascinated to see how this plays out. So that does it for Club and Country starting U.S. men's national team 11 for this summer's Gold Cup. Obviously, this entire lineup is just a speculation due to the final 23-man roster not having yet been selected. Please leave me a comment below if you agree or even disagree with any of my selections above. The preliminary lineup might be a mixture of our B and C players for the US, but depth is extremely important for the United States men's national team. If they're going to successfully qualify and compete at 2022 World Cup, Berhalter will need to use this tournament as a baseline for his bench. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and until next time, go US men's national team.